purpose of a session like this is to figure out and delve into any repressed or suppressed childhood trauma or generational trauma that gets passed down to somebody who is ready to release everything that is really holding them back from being the best versions of themselves.
What might some of those past traumas be?
Childhood sexual abuse. On the generational side, there's also alcoholism that gets passed down from one generation to the next. Being in harmful relationships, just really violence all around, being surrounded by anger and hate and all those other negative emotions. That also causes us to behave certain ways in our adult lives.
Learn more about what we're talking about here if you have to hop out of your vehicle at QHHTJuliet.com. That's QHHTJuliet.com, spelled Juliet. When people are actually in the session, how would that present itself when sort of those past issues are being dealt with?
So the first part of a session, and once again, it lasts between 5 to 8 hours, so it's a whole day long event. That is the interview portion, and that's where I, as the practitioner, get to know you, the client, and I ask about your childhood. I ask about your teenage years, your relationships with all of your family members, any particularly eventful times in your life. And I'm not asking these questions to be nosy. I'm asking them because, as an outsider, I can better see and find the patterns that are occurring in your life. And then you, as the client, have the option to either change or stop that pattern or to continue.
Right. How often do they make the better choice?
That is up to them.
Right.
It's all about their own choice and holding themselves accountable for those choices. I'm just really there saying, I see it. Are you ready to end it?
Yeah. This is so different, right, Karen, than what we would think about on television, right, where, you know, the professor on Gilligan's Island takes out the stopwatch and hypnotizes somebody, and in 20 minutes they suddenly don't want to eat peanut butter anymore.
You're going to be very sleepy.
Yeah. Do you use a watch, a stopwatch?
No, I don't. And it's a very common misconception with this type of hypnosis. This type of hypnosis technique takes you to what is called the theta level of consciousness. And that is the same feeling you get right before you fall asleep and right after you wake up. So it's when you remember all of your dreams and you're really relaxed, that is where this type of hypnosis takes you. I'm not standing over you, holding a watch on a chain, going back and forth. That is not what I do. That is, it's also interesting to hear from all of my clients, what do they know about hypnosis? And many of them have heard about it only from TV and movies.
Yeah. So they come in and they're a little initially disappointed that you don't have the stopwatch on the chain, but then they quickly get beyond that.
I would say relieved.
Yeah, I would think. And this is more, too, than just hypnosis to try to, deal with smoking cessation. This is much more comprehensive and thorough.
Right. We delve into that as well, but instead of just, how do I explain this? Instead of just getting you to stop it, we get to the root of why it is you are doing it, because that is very often overlooked. We tend to mask and deal with the symptoms instead of getting to the root of all the problems.
Juliet, of course, practices right here in our part of Northeast Florida, here in St. Johns County. You can learn more by going to QHHTJuliet.com. That's QHHTJuliet.com. And this is, for the most part, or for all practical purposes, a day-long session. What do patients and clients need to do to get ready to get the most from the session? Is there any sort of prep involved?
Typically, what I ask clients to do is to think of some questions that they would like for their higher selves or their subconscious, their intuition, whatever you'd like to call it, to ask. And I do that on their behalf when they're put under. The questions can be, why am I the way I am? What is my purpose in life? Will I move out of Florida? I'm just giving some examples of some types of questions that some of my clients have posed. Some others would be, how can I be the best wife to my spouse? How can I be the best son or daughter to my parents?
So, and they're asking that question. You will ask them that question when they're in this other state of consciousness. But will they realize the answer on their own, or will you have to give them the answer as the session wraps up?
So I do not tell them what they see or what they hear. It is the session is recorded for this purpose. I am only the navigator. I am asking the questions that the client wants me to ask on their behalf, and then the client is saying all the answers. So there is no way to doubt that all the answers are already within you.
Now, does everyone that comes to you, are you able to get them all to this state? Or some people just can't be put under?
The only people who cannot be put under are those who have hearing loss or who are deaf, who have like schizophrenia or some type of severe mental disorder, and those who don't want to be put under hypnosis. It's always a choice. I'm certainly not going to come up to somebody and start giving them visualization techniques if they don't want it. But the clients who come to me want this.
Right.
So it's consent of the client and the intent of the practitioner.
Yeah, I would think you would go into these sessions wanting to cooperate, right? You want to try to get the benefit of what you have committed to doing.
Exactly.
Right.
And the people who come to me for my own personal brand of QHHT.
What's a common response you get once the session is over, once the 6 or 8 hours are complete?
Once the session is done, the third part of the session is the post-hypnosis interview. And all my clients come out much more calm, much more still, much more at peace. And for the ones who usually don't remember what goes on, they have to listen to the recording first. And that's a few of them. There aren't any clients who will remember everything that goes on during the session because they're so relaxed and their subconscious takes over.
Karen, one of the things I learned from Juliet the last time she stopped by the radio station was that sort of highlights or illustrates this different state of consciousness that you're helping people to access. It's how they don't even really get hungry. You know, that they're with her for 6 to 8 hours and they don't want to eat.
Not thinking about food.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. Now, do people come back for different sessions? Or is it one and done usually?
Typically, it is one session that is needed, and that's why it takes the entire day. We really get to the root of all of the problems that tend to pop up, in the repeated harmful patterns in your life. If something else does pop up, then you already have the tools needed to help heal yourself.
And so you're getting stories from these people, how they're able to deal with the problems in their lives thanks to these sessions?
Absolutely, yes. And it's really up to them because they get all the answers from their own voice. Whereas with some other types of modalities, let's say somebody is going to some other type of healer, let's say a psychic, for example. This is nothing like that. But if they go to a psychic or somebody else, they're asking for answers from somebody else, not from them.
Right.
So this is getting back to them.
Yeah, you're just facilitating people getting answers to their own long-time issues themselves, right? Amazing, actually. Learn more by going to QHHTJuliet.com. That's QHHTJuliet.com. That stands for Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, and she is a trained practitioner of that right here in St. Johns County. 39 WSOS. We're spending time with Juliet, and she's here live in the studio. Karen is here with me as well. QHHTJuliet.com is the website we'd love for you to check out. QHHTJuliet.com. That stands for Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And there are practitioners doing this work, I would imagine, all over North America, right?
All over the world.
All over the world. The goal being that you spend a long time in a state of hypnosis, right, to help delve deep into your consciousness to deal with some lifelong issues, correct?
That's right. The hypnosis portion lasts a maximum of 2 hours, and the rest of the day is really devoted to the interview. Okay. So me as the practitioner talking to the client to get to know them and for us to delve deeper into why they make certain decisions from past childhood trauma.
Sort of the ultimate self-care gift, right? People will say, well, I'm going to go get a manicure and a pedicure, or I'm going to go get a facial. This is like pressing your brain's reset button, right?
It is, yes. And I think ahead of Valentine's Day, it's something to consider that you can only love somebody else as much as you love yourself.
Yeah, that's what every marriage counselor will tell you, right? Every psychotherapist will tell you that, right? It would seem that, if you're having difficulties in your relationship, with a significant other right now, this is a very inexpensive way to deal with that. Certainly a lot less expensive than a divorce, right?
Right. And I wouldn't say not just with your significant other, but with other members of your family.
Yeah.
If you feel that there's any tension or friction or you're not talking to each other anymore, you have to explore both sides.
Yeah. So how do you do that if you have someone in your family, that has effectively divorced you, but you'd like to try to get to a better place? Do they have to participate in QHHT as well, or is it just you do it, and then maybe that'll give you a path toward reconnecting?
That's exactly what it is. The latter that you explained. It's really a one person session.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some couples come in, on different days, so that they can better understand each other.
I would think that would really work, right? I mean, it's got to help.
Right.
Help us understand. So, people that are driving around right now, and the people that are dealing with blank issue, maybe are there. In other words, I'm almost looking for a rank order. Like somebody who's dealing with this issue should really come and see you because you know that you can. I mean, there's a pretty darn good chance you're going to be able to help them out.
I think somebody who is having trouble maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Somebody who is still dealing with PTSD.
Okay.
Somebody who is in a harmful relationship right now and they don't know where to turn to.
Yeah.
I think those are some of the main topics to help people really understand that this is one of the most effective modalities to use if you really want to go within yourself and trust yourself and your intuition.
It's worth the resources just to get to spend 6 hours listening to her voice.
I know, so calming.
Isn't it so calming?
What I like is that she's recording the whole thing, so you can sit back at your leisure later on and listen, maybe with your the person that's important to you, and you can listen together and learn what's really going on in your subconscious you don't even realize, perhaps.
Right, or remember during the session. Yeah. So it's every time. I strongly urge all of my clients to not only listen to the recording the evening of the session, but as many times as possible after that, because there's always some new wisdom that can be gleaned from listening to your own voice telling you that you are loved and that you're worth it.
So you're helping people work through trauma, basically.
Yes.
So it could be any kind of trauma that they've had throughout their lives.
Exactly, and not just childhood trauma, but trauma that occurs, from death of a loved one during your young adult years, teenage angst, just some of those examples. It's not just about resolving childhood trauma. Some people don't have any childhood trauma. They have other things that they have to deal with and focus on.
Right. Yeah. You've even mentioned working with Holocaust survivors.
Right, and that is a generational trauma that would get passed down from the older generation to the younger one. And that is, I guess it's best explained as the child of a parent who has experienced something so severe as being in a concentration camp, for example. They're going to be raising their children a very specific way, and that will be passed down unless that child as a teenager or as an adult wishes to stop the pattern from repeating itself.
And that is one specific example, but so many more people are afflicted with alcoholism or sexual abuse in their families.
Right, and it's really up to you, the one person, the client, to stop it and to also prevent it from affecting your children if you have any.
Well, this is amazing stuff. We encourage you to learn more by going to QHHTJuliet.com. These are basically day-long sessions. As Juliet indicated, this isn't a repeat performance sort of thing. You go once. It's incredibly affordable.
That's what I'm most impressed with.
Very affordable, considering that she's going to spend an entire day with you. These typically get scheduled, I guess, a few weeks out, right?
I'm typically booked 1 to 2 months out.
Wow.
But clients do join a cancellation list. So if something opens up, I usually give 48-hour notice.
Stands for Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, QHHTJuliet.com. She's here local, right here in St. Johns County in St. Augustine. We encourage you to go to that website to learn more, and you can also, I would imagine, schedule that consultation on the website, right?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to come back. Stay tuned. It's lunchtime here in St. Augustine, and we're spending time with Juliet, and she is a practitioner of Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. Goes by the acronym QHHT. Go to QHHTJuliet.com, and she practices right here in St. Augustine and St. Johns County. Speaking of lunch, do you ever have people that deal or work with you because they want to try to achieve some weight loss? If that's part of their self-image or whatever?
Yes. But as I mentioned before, it's really trying to get to the root of why you are eating the way you are. Why are you holding on and retaining that weight? And that's where we get to the root of the problem.
And a lot of that can go back to just even relationships, or goes back to your childhood, right?
Right. Sometimes we overeat as a way to distract us from dealing with our emotions.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting you say that. Last night I was reading an article about the percentage of our appetite that's tied to emotional need as opposed to physical need. It's about 60-40. And it's not just that, what you see on a bad TV show about, oh, I'm sad, so I grab a gallon of ice cream. It's more about how emotionally we feel. It makes us feel happy when we eat something that tastes really good, even though we're not really hungry, right? So you see Mom's blueberry pie, and it's like, I'm not hungry, but boy, that makes me feel good on a lot of levels, right? So you realize that it's not just about meeting our physical needs, even that notion that, hey, I'm hungry. It's more that I'm emotionally hungry for something that makes me feel better, right?
Right, exactly. And what we're lacking in our psyche, in our spiritual health, we try to, I would say, try to get in our mental and physical health, but it's harmful. I mean, it's relationship with food, just like a relationship is with another person or with some other concept. It could lead to a very unhealthy lifestyle.
So you mentioned this a lot, the notion that this has a spiritual component to it. Does it tie itself to religion in terms of Christianity or Judaism or whatever?
I think that anybody who is willing to benefit from helping themselves on a mental level, there is no religious background required. So anybody who wants to explore their own mental health and their spiritual health as well. A lot of my clients do come from a religious background.
Interesting. Hey, you can learn more by going to QHHTJuliet.com. These sessions, by the way, are typically 6 to 8 hours, right?
Right.
Incredibly affordable, right? You can learn more by getting in touch with Juliet to learn how this is all going to work. It's very thorough, right, in terms of you're trying to understand the person that you're meeting with and working with, right?
Exactly. And I actually, since my last interview here, I've started a podcast where I do delve into different themes and different topics, trying to do once a week or once every 10 days to help people explore their issues, in the comfort of their own home or in the car.
Yeah. Individuals dealing with PTSD, for example, could really benefit from this. People that are having trouble with family relationships, any sort of romantic relationships that are challenging too, as we head into Valentine's Day, you can help those people as well, correct?
Exactly. And I think that society today tends to distract us from finding the calm, finding the stillness in our everyday lives. And this type of session will help you feel that calm so that you can repair or replace any type of relationship that you're looking to focus on.
I would imagine any age could benefit from this.
QHHT sessions are typically for 18 and over.
Okay.
So with younger children, it is not. It's not allowed.
Okay.
Just through the academy. But anybody who is over that age, if they're willing to take on something like this, then it's really up to them. Once again, it's personal accountability, and also if somebody is ready to stop blaming others for their problems,
right?
That's a huge deal, because blaming others is very, very easy.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of energy to keep that anger up.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, so often, I guess, even as we approach our 60s, 70s, and 80s, we're still blaming certain behaviors we may have on our parents.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's really
and you can help people let go of that, right?
Right. And I'm basically a mirror, just like everybody is a mirror when they see other people. I don't take in your problems. I don't want them. They are solely your own. So when a client, for example, starts that pattern, that cycle of blaming somebody over and over and over again, I get them to look back at themselves and ask them, is this type of action, is this type of behavior helping you right now?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is always no.
This is amazing. So you're letting somebody sit down for a concentrated amount of time, and you're guiding them to help go back into their memories and their brain and figure out their problems on their own, but you're just guiding them.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. So you can help people with a myriad of problems and issues and things that they can't really see themselves how to get out of.
Right, because they're the ones living it. So because I'm on the outside, I'm an outsider, and I'm just hearing their story. But there are certain words, certain types of, I would say signs, some type of body language that people use when they're constantly using the same terms over and over and over again. That's when I call them out on it.
But do people realize what's holding them back? Do they know when they're dealing with their everyday lives that this is the reason, or they need you to take them into their subconscious?
It's both. I think everybody obviously has access to their intuition, but they're choosing to ignore it. And again, that's a choice. So when they're with me during a session, they've already made the choice to explore that and to start holding themselves accountable.
What a gratifying way to go through life, to help people find issues that they can fix on their own.
Exactly.
Yeah, just the ultimate self-care.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's mental self-care, which is really hard to secure, especially, when Juliet's saying it's a one-and-done effort. Mm-hmm. You're not committing to the next 2 years of therapy, right?
And you could help people with their professional lives as well?
Yes, I get many clients who come in who are also wanting to ask their subconscious or their higher self where their career will be headed. Should I change jobs? Should I stay in my current job? So it's really a whole mixed bag of questions that you can ask or can have asked, and then your subconscious will answer them.
Interesting. Well, it's an amazing experience. We're fortunate to have Juliet here in St. Augustine and St. Johns County doing this service for folks. You can learn more about what she does and how you can sign up by going to QHHTJuliet.com. That's QHHTJuliet.com. It stands for Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, and there are indeed practitioners of this all over the world. We're just fortunate that Juliet lives here with us, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you, Juliet, for your time. We learned a lot as always. We appreciate you, and thanks for all your good work.